I am Alyssa Bynum. I'm 14. I'm from Myrtle, Mississippi, and I'm going to tell you the story of how Justin had saved me. So I was at school one day, and there was these kids had told me that I'm useless, I'm worthless, I'm ugly, and all that stuff. And they had told me that everybody would be happy if I was just dead. So on the bus ride home, I had thought about it and all that stuff, and I'm like, it's true. Everyone here hates me, all that stuff, and I got that stuck in my head. So whenever I had got home that day, I threw my backpack and all that stuff in the house, and I ran outside to the woods back behind the house. So I went out there, looked around, and all that stuff, just trying to clear my head, and I stepped on this old rusty kitchen knife. It was laying down so it didn't cut my foot or anything. I picked it up, and I had went to the spot that's far from the house, far from anything. The only thing that was near it was a pasture, and the people that owned the pasture, their house was way up the road. So I sat down there in that spot, and I had thought about it, and I'm just like, hey, if everyone hates me and all that stuff, I should just cut my wrist, cut the blood veins and all that stuff, and just bleed to death here right now. So I had turned on my radio so nobody would hear me scream or anything whenever I did it. And so I had that plan. I had cut a little bit on my wrist, and I was going deeper by the second. So right whenever I was about to hit one, Justin's song, As Long As You Love Me, came on. And after I stopped and listened to the song, thinking that it would be the last song I ever heard. So I had stopped and listened to it, and whenever it was done, I had realized that there's people out there that love me and want me here alive today. So I was like, hey, this is something that I need. There's some people out there that love me and all that stuff. And right after that song went off, One Less Lonely Girl came on. I had stopped and listened. I had listened to it, and whenever it was over, it helped me realize that there's somebody out there that's I'm meant for, that's gonna love me for me and not want me to change a bit. So after I had realized those two things, I just sat there thinking about that, and whenever I thought about it, didn't think about any of the haters and all that stuff. I thought about everybody that did love me, my family, my friends, and all them, and I had just like, the knife was in my skin and all that stuff, and I had just stopped and I took it out. I had threw the knife to the other side of the woods, and I threw it on the other side of the woods, and I had I looked at my wrist and saw that my wrist was bleeding and all that stuff. So I got my shirt and wrapped it around my hand and just wrapped it around my hand, and I ran to the house. I ran, and I did not stop until I got there, and whenever I got in the house, I went straight to the bathroom and cleaned up my wrist and all that stuff. And now looking back at that day, I'm happy I didn't do it. But there's people in the world that are going to make you feel like you are not wanted, that nobody needs you and all that stuff. But you just have to think about the positive stuff, about the people that do love you. Don't think about the haters, just think about the people that do love you, and think about Think about what would happen to them if you were gone. You just don't think about anything else. Just think about the people that would care about you. Well, that's my story, and I hope that you don't do I hope you don't do the same thing I did. And if you did try but you stopped, that's a good thing. Just don't do it, please. Don't.